Morning, everybody. It's 8 a.m. here in New York City and 8 a.m. in Washington, D.C., where the feckless Democrats just caved.
Morning, everybody. It's 8 a.m. here in New York City, 8 a.m. in Washington, D.C., where the feckless Democrats.
Are you? Oh.
I don't know what that was. There, I just unmuted you.
All right, thank you. Well, it's 8 a.m. also in Washington, D.C., where the feckless Democrats just caved to Donald Trump and to the Republicans. And you might ask, why have we had the shutdown for the past 5 weeks or 6 weeks? And the answer is, we don't know. We don't know because we thought this shutdown was about expanding healthcare for people who are about to lose it. We thought this was about making sure that healthcare costs were not going to increase by thousands and sometimes tens of thousands of dollars for Americans. We thought the pain that people were going through, whether losing SNAP benefits or being laid off or not receiving their paychecks or not being able to travel, was for a greater good and a common cause. And the answer is it wasn't. It wasn't because Chuck Schumer and the Democrats caved. And I want to be very clear, Michelle, and I know you and I agree on this because neither you or I have slept.
Yeah.
This was not just those 8 Democrats.
No.
And Angus King, I should say, who's not technically a Democrat, who caved. All of them have one thing in common. One. And you pointed it out yesterday to me. Not one of them is up for election next year. They were the stalking horses for the caucus. They were the stalking horses for leadership. The fact that Dick Durbin, the number 2 Democrat in the conference, voted for this means that this had the approval of Chuck Schumer of New York, our Senator Michelle. I am so furious. I voted for Chuck Schumer. I don't know how many times I voted for Chuck Schumer. No more. No more. If he does not get primaried by somebody more qualified, I will fucking primary him. I'm that angry about it.
I know. It's, Chuck Schumer likes to talk about the fact that he's never lost an election, right? And I think that if he runs again for re-election, he's about to. Because people are that angry. He's so, I don't know what rule book or playbook he's doing business by. We talked about this briefly with Mallory McMorrow when we had her on Friday. Julie asked her specifically, do you think that Chuck Schumer's doing a good job? And she said, no, because he's not. He is doing politics of another time. And for the sake of our democracy and for the sake of the future of this country, Chuck Schumer needs to be removed from leadership immediately. And Democrats in the Senate have the power to do this. I don't know that they're going to have the will or the courage to do something like that, but I don't know how we go from such a colossal blowout on Tuesday to the largest single-day protest in American history for no kings. There was wind in the sails of the opposition, and these 8+ Democrats in the Senate have completely put their foot on the brake. I had people texting me this morning and last night, people who were just politics adjacent, people who are very plugged in, I'm on group chats with, one of which said to me, I don't even know why I pay attention anymore. I should just focus on my family and just try to get through because everything we do, they kill it.
Well, let me tell you something. And I wrote about this late last night on my Substack, and I'll drop it in here, but I'll spare people the need to read it. I'll just cut to the chase. The reason they did this was because, and sit down for this because this is going to piss you off even more, is because Donald Trump told Senate Republicans to get rid of the filibuster.
Yep.
And what Donald Trump wants, Donald Trump eventually gets. And these Democrats were terrified that the filibuster was going to go away. So because they were afraid that they were going to get rid of the filibuster, they decided to preemptively do it, right? They were panicked that Republicans were finally going to take away their power to obstruct bad policy, so they preemptively took away their own power to obstruct bad policy. Have you ever in your life and I ask everybody this today who's watching, seen anything this feckless and gutless in your life? They wouldn't do this before last Tuesday's election, Michelle, because they wanted to harness our rage at the Republicans to win seats, as you said.
Yeah.
And then they turned that rage inward. The rest of us are too dumb to understand how the Senate works. That's why they did it. That's what Dick Durbin said.
Yeah, Dick Durbin said people need to learn how the Senate works.
Do you have that clip?
Are
Right?
you serious? I don't, but
Okay,
I
let me read to you because I have what he said. Okay.
Mhm.
This is what Dick Durbin said. First of all, Dick Durbin said, we, that means you and I and everybody watching right now who's opposed to this, we're too stupid to get what this is all about because, and I quote, we need to understand how the Senate works. Well, Senator, I worked in the Senate and I get how it works. I have a question for Dick Durbin. Did you learn something new about how the Senate works in the last 6 weeks that made you suddenly side with the Republicans? Because 6 weeks ago, you were all in. What did the Senate somehow change in the last 6 weeks? And then this is what he said that really was going to piss everybody off. We have brought this issue as a major national issue from zero to a major factor. This is what he's talking. He's talking about Obamacare. Are you fucking kidding me? A major factor? Are we having a debate in poli-sci class?
Right. Is this Model UN? Like, seriously.
What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here?
Yep.
People are losing their health care. They don't care about awareness. Dick Durbin and every other senator, every single one, has the best healthcare money can buy. I know I used to have it. I wish I had that healthcare today. But there are millions of Dick Durbin's constituents and constituents all over the country, Americans, who are about to lose their healthcare because they will not be able to afford their premiums.
Yeah. Not to mention people who are going to get kicked off Medicaid and right? Isn't that right? There's
All of
like
it. Medicare,
just,
you guys.
and this is again big beautiful bill crap that people again have not been like. This is where Seneca Project, we put out an ad saying Donald Trump betrayed you, and it was like all the things that your mom's going to get pulled out of her nursing home. You're going to lose your health care. Children are going to go hungry. And look what is happening. I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
So
I really don't.
I'm going to read the names of these people. And I want you to pay attention to who these names are. But I'm going to tell you that they're not the ones responsible. Having said that, these are the 8 that caved. Tim Kaine of Virginia, John Fetterman of Pennsylvania. I am going to demand that he return my campaign contribution. Dick Durbin, who we talked about, of Illinois, he's retiring. Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire. Catherine Cortez Mastro of Nevada. Jackie Rosen of Nevada, and Angus King of Maine, who's an independent. None of these.
I just pulled the Dick Durbin clip. I think we should watch it.
I mean, some people would think that there's a capitulation if you only agree to a standalone vote.
Need to understand how the Senate works. We have brought this issue as a major national issue from zero to a major factor, I think, in the last election. And I think we're going to continue to make it an issue as we.
How dare you?
A major factor.
How dare you?
Let me tell you something. So Michelle, the funny thing is on Friday, we just ran out of time, but I had it in the script. Actually, I had it in the script on Thursday too, but we also ran out of time. We were going to today we were going to have a segment about how there's MAGA infighting, how they're all fighting amongst themselves, which they are. You've got the Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes faction.
Yep.
You've got the Ben Shapiro faction. You've got the Mark Levin faction. You've got the Candace Owens faction. They're all killing each other. All Democrats all they had to do was sit tight and let this play out. They were killing each other. Donald Trump's numbers were in the toilet.
Yep.
Americans were blaming this on him. You know how I know that? Not just because of the polls, but because that's what happened last Tuesday. And what do these Democrats do? They pull the rug out. And then you know what they're going to say? Oh, that's all right. The CR is only till January. We're going to have another fight then. Who the fuck is going to believe you?
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah.
Next time. You caved in February, Chuck Schumer, and you cave right now. And by the way, I want people to understand the people whose names, the senator whose names I just read, there were stalking horses for all the other ones who wanted to cave
Yeah.
because they're up next year.
Yep. Yep. And you know, I was following a lot of, I mean, I was on like a war room chat with Democrats last night. And listen, we were all confused. We're like, why won't anyone tell us what's going on? We're trying to figure this out. And V from Under the Desk News wrote, and no, we won't get that congresswoman from Arizona signed in. There is no evidence that Trump will turn SNAP back on or that this had to happen now. We got nothing. Flag
Nothing.
on the play.
Nothing.
And I know you said, you know, that you think that she will be sworn in. I don't think that. I think they will find a way to not.
I mean,
I think there's too much to lose, and I think that if there's a way that they can do it, they'll do it.
let me just say this. It doesn't matter. You're absolutely right, Michelle. They could just say, we're not going to swear her in. And what are Democrats going to do? Oh, we're going to shut down the Senate?
No, I'm going to write a letter.
The only leverage these people had, literally the only leverage these people had was this.
Yes.
The minute that Donald Trump started talking about the filibuster, they all
Yep.
came. All
Yep.
of them.
Yep.
Vote every single one of the people that was on that list out now. And I swear to God, Chuck Schumer, resign in ignominy. You
Yeah.
are incapable of running this caucus. And let me just say this. Yes, Chuck Schumer is on the older side. Yes, he's been around a really long time. But look at his contemporary, who I believe is even older than he is. In fact, I know he's older than he is, Mitch McConnell.
Yeah. Mitch
Would
McConnell
never
would have never allowed.
Never without getting something in return.
Yeah. And we got nothing. We
Nothing.
got a promise. We got a pinky's promise that there might be a vote, that they'll bring it to the floor. And we all know there's like, oh, well, the Senate Democrats can write their own bill, which we know will never make it out. And even if it did, Donald Trump will never sign it.
It'll never make it to the House. I mean,
They
they
just won't. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it'll make out of committee. I mean, like, this is crazy.
John Thune is like, oh, you guys can write the bill and I'll
Oh
bring
my
it to the
God.
floor. Okay, great. You know what, Michelle? I'm going to right now write myself a check for $100 million. And I'm gonna just sit here and I'm gonna say I have $100 million in my bank account. Like, this is it's not real.
I know.
It's not knowing how the Senate works, Dick Durbin.
And that kind of comment from Dick Durbin, by the way, is one of the reasons people hate Democrats, is
Yeah.
like the
Not
talking
acceptable.
over, talking down to people like they're dumb. And that is the shit that people can't stand. And the thing is that even though Republicans are backhanded, screwing over the American people left and right, including mostly their own people, their own voters, they speak plainly to people in a way that is understood and they don't feel talked down to. And that is the difference. That is the difference. And so for people like Dick Durbin to be, after all of this, to then tell us we don't know how this works, how dare you? How dare you?
You know what they don't get, because they've been stuck in their little world for so
Yeah,
long.
with the Senate gym and this and that, and like all my friends.
Senate
Yeah.
dining room, all that shit. What they don't get is that there is a crop of Democrats out there
Mm-hmm.
coming up and primarying their preferred candidates that are going to win, right? And I'll just raise two, right? One that we talked to last week, and one who is in Maine.
Yep.
So I'll start with Maine. Janet Mills is the preferred candidate of Chuck Schumer, right? She's the sitting governor of Maine. She's older, she's moderate, she's electable, she's liked, yada yada. And now you have Graham Plattner with his big old fucking Nazi tattoo on his chest, energizing people from downstate to all of it, right?
Right.
And he's gonna win. And by the way, if I'm Graham Plattner, the best thing that ever happened to me is what happened yesterday. Because now people like me, who never would have voted for him because of a stupid Nazi tattoo, and still I wouldn't, but people like me who maybe don't have that problem are going to be like, you know what? I'm just going to do it to stick it. I'm going to do it to stick it to Chuck Schumer. I'm going to do it to stick it to these guys. Haley Stevens, who's running in Michigan, who's the preferred candidate of Chuck Schumer and the DSCC. If I'm Mallory McMorrow or anybody else who's a viable alternative to Haley Stevens, I had a very good day yesterday because people are so pissed off. They're going to vote for them just to stick it to Chuck Schumer. I mean, you and I did not sleep last night. You and I were texting with each other. I was writing a Substack. Like, we were going nuts. And again, you guys, I come from the moderate wing of this. Like, I'm the establishment wing. I've elected half these. I mean, like, you know, Bernie Sanders was not my cup of tea ever. He is my cup of tea now.
Oh, you know, I was thinking the same thing. And you and I,
Yep, go ahead.
no, you and I haven't talked about this yet, but I want to play. I have a couple clips here of Bernie. If you've got me, listen, because people are going to be like, why don't you like Bernie? I have never been a huge Bernie fan because of 2016. And like, that's just how it is. However, recently, I've been like, you know what, Bernie, let's go. Let's go, Bernie. Because you seem to be the only one, number one, on a simple message that has never changed, and you have never changed on it. So you know what? God bless. And second of all, actually speaking from a real place because he gives a shit about people. And so I'm going to play this clip of him on the floor.
I think it is important that the American people fully understand what is being voted on today. Everybody in America knows that our current healthcare system is broken. It is dysfunctional. It is cruel. It is by far the most expensive healthcare system in the world and the only healthcare system of any major country that does not guarantee healthcare to all people as a human right, covering every man, woman, and child. We are unique in that respect. And yet tonight, what this Senate is about to do is make a horrific situation even worse. So let's be clear what this vote is about. If this vote succeeds, over 20 million Americans are going to see at least a doubling in their premiums in the Affordable Care Act. In my state of Vermont and throughout this country, for certain groups of people, it will be a tripling and a quadrupling of their premiums. There are people who will now be paying 50% of their limited incomes for health care. Does anybody in the world think that makes sense? And if this resolution is passed tonight, we are on a pathway to throw 15 million Americans off of Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. 15 million. Our job is to create universal health care, guarantee health care to every man, woman, and child, not throw 15 million people off the health care they have, low-income and working-class people. And my friends, know what you are voting on. Studies are out there that when you throw 15 million people off of health care, some 50,000 of our fellow Americans will die unnecessarily every single year. Anyone think that's funny? Something to laugh at? Something to just go past? I don't. 50,000 Americans die unnecessarily. Now, I know as part of this resolution that the majority leader is going to say, well, Democrats can put together their own bill and it'll come to the floor here in the Senate for a vote. As everybody here knows, that is a totally meaningless gesture. You can get 100 votes here in the Senate. Won't mean anything because the House is not going to take it up, and the President of the United States certainly will not sign it. So, Mr. President, I hope.
I mean,
Where's the lie?
no lies. And I want to compare that to what Chuck Schumer was saying. Because honestly,
but however this vote turns out, this fight will and must continue. Democrats must fight because of millions of families will lose health care coverage. We must fight because children who are dying of cancer will not get health care coverage. We must fight because a senior citizen cannot afford to pay $25,000 a year just for health insurance. We must fight to keep millions from financial ruin. And make no mistake about it, the American people know who is inflicting this health care trauma on them: Donald Trump and the Republicans.
Okay. Who's fighting? Who's fighting?
Like, this is the fight, dude. Look, oh, the fight must continue. No, this is the fight.
This is the fight. Because
it.
when this comes up in January again, what are you going to say? You're going to give another floor speech or write a sternly worded letter? Like, what is the fight? What is the fight? Because by January, people will be losing their health care.
Yeah.
God help you.
People are going to die. And to Joni Ernst would say, well, we're all going to die. And that's how these people feel. They don't like it. It's just collateral damage. They don't give a shit. That's the thing. It's like, I got into politics, Julie, because I wanted to help. I wanted to make a difference. That I didn't have to do this. I've already had another career already. I did this because I felt that I had to. How any of these people have continued to spend decade after decade after decade after decade just playing by these rules and just going about life and going about it makes absolutely no sense to me. Like, if you're not there to make people's lives better and to fight for what is right, get out of our way. Get out of our way.
What they don't understand, and I don't know why they don't understand it, because God knows it's exactly the same ecosystem that Republicans faced in 2009, is that there is now a Tea Party on the left.
Yeah.
Like it or hate it, right? Like it or hate it. There is now a cohort of Democrats that are actually the heart and soul of the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
Who are not going to stand for this shit anymore. And let me go a step further. For all that there have been thought pieces written about, oh, Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger got elected, and they got elected because by these landslide margins, nobody could have anticipated. And they're moderates. This is the way. Bullshit. They got elected. Let me start with Virginia. Because federal workers were furious with Republicans. And the only way they could register that fury was by voting last Tuesday. Furious about the government shutdown. And that's how they registered their fury. In New Jersey, do they actually think that Black and brown people turned out in droves for Mikey Sherrill because she's a moderate? They turned out in droves because they were pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
Pissed off at the Republicans, pissed off at Donald Trump. And the only way they could show that was by voting against the candidate that endorsed Donald Trump and Donald Trump endorsed in return. That's why Democrats won. It was a nationalized election. I don't want to hear this bullshit about moderate candidates, because across the river from New Jersey, demographically quite similar, in New York City, there was a socialist, Democratic socialist on the ballot who won. It wasn't about anything other than people were just pissed off at the status quo. And who the fuck do they think embodies the status quo? It is Chuck Schumer. It is those 8 or 9 Democrats. It is the entire Democratic caucus that went along with this shit. And if I were Chuck Schumer, if you wanted to have any kind of credibility, you penalize those senators, but you're not going to, because you're
no, because he
shitless.
was in on it.
He was in on it, but more importantly, he's scared shitless that John Fetterman is going to walk across the hall and join the Republicans.
Well, you know, and here's the thing. I want to.
Sorry, let me just say this.
Yeah,
You govern in fear. You govern in fear. That is what the Democratic Party is doing. They're governing in fear. They're not governing from strength. They're governing from fear. And it's enough. Enough of this. Get a spine. You have a vote just like anybody else. There are 100 of you. You have the exact same vote as the others.
Yep.
Stop governing in fear.
You're absolutely right, Julie. You're absolutely right. And you know, Ezra Levin used to be a congressional staffer. Ezra is the head of the No Kings movement at Indivisible, right? And I just want to pull up what he wrote last night on Blue Sky. He said the original Dem demands were permanent ACA subsidies, Medicaid funding restored, no more blank checks for the regime, rescission. They dropped Medicaid immediately, went silent on rescission, cut back to 1 year of subsidies on Friday, and surrendered today. The Senate Democrats. It is important to understand this. There is a reasonable chance that your Democratic senator who voted against this and is acting mad now was in on the play. It's the same reason why they scheduled the surrender for after the election this week. They didn't want people pissed at the Democrats right before the election. And there you have it.
Yep. Yep. And let's talk about rescissions for a second. You guys, we're going to blow this whole show out today and just talk about this. So if anyone for other topics, that's not going to happen today. I apologize. We'll go back to hopefully normal rules of the show tomorrow, but who the hell knows? Because who knows
At this point.
at this point. But let me just talk about rescissions. So it's a really boring word, and I'm not sure most people focused on what happened. But last time when Democrats caved, i.e. Chuck Schumer caved, because he actually voted for this shit sandwich and voted to do the CR back in the winter last year, or I should say earlier this year.
Yeah.
Trump said, I don't care what Congress just appropriated. I am going to take this money and I'm going to impound it. And I'm going to spend it any way I want. And the Republicans voted to allow him to do that. They broke the deal. They took the power of the purse away from themselves. If for no other reason, you don't cut a deal with these people, because they're going to do it again. They're going to do it again. What the CR that you just passed, it's meaningless. They're going to take that money and they're going to spend it any way Donald Trump wants. They gave him the power to do that. I am a New York Democrat. I vote for this guy. I vote for him.
I'll never vote for him again. Never. Never, ever. Never. And the thing is about the thing about Chuck Schumer, and I mean, you know this, and I just say this as somebody who was, involved in West Side Democrats for several years in Manhattan. You invite Chuck Schumer to something, he shows up. He shows up. He shakes everybody's hand. He talks to you like you've known him for 50 years. He's super nice. Like he whispers in your ear and it's like, ha, 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 ha. And he's a very good retail politician. And that is why he wins. But I don't know how he can walk into these rooms anymore. I really don't. I really, really don't. Now, I say that as in New York City, just so people know, in New York City, there's clubs, there's Democratic clubs, and they're spread out all over the city. And while maybe they don't have a lot of power, they do with their electeds because they have relationships with the electeds. They do all the petitioning during the primary season and everything like that. And, I watch the club mentality sort of fluff a lot of the electeds over and over and over and over and over again. And they never hold them account. Never. At least the ones that I've been in, I've never watched them hold Chuck Schumer accountable, Kirsten Gillibrand accountable, Jerry Nadler, Espaillat, none of them. It's all very pleasantries. And so my thing is if you're in on the ground, especially in a place like New York, and you are even in a volunteer position that has any amount of control over anything in your community, you need to be speaking up. And I will put the word out to my group of people who I haven't been a part of the club in a long time, but if they're not speaking up and saying, we will not support your reelection, we will not petition for you. Because when the club members go out and petition on the street and get the signatures, that's less money that the electeds have to spend to go hire people to do this. It's a huge, huge upside. And if people on the ground and all over the state are not stepping up and telling Chuck Schumer enough is enough, none of you deserve any of our dollars, any of our time, quite frankly.
He's not running again. I can't imagine.
He can't.
He can't. Because again, AOC, ironically, where Schumer is from a purely I'm maybe I'm old, maybe whatever, but I'm more aligned with Schumer than I am with AOC.
Yeah.
Or I used to be, I should say. This is kind of, this has radicalized me. But I vote for AOC. I can't, if that's who my choices are,
Hmm.
No question about it.
No question. No.
The only person that could run against him that would make me vote for Chuck Schumer is Andrew Cuomo.
Oh God. Listen, don't rule it out at this point because there's a rumor he's going to run for Nadler's seat.
Oh, I
And
know.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, help us. Please
know.
help us.
I know.
But again, like these are the people who need to be running. I just want to play this clip of our now friend of the show, Mallory McMorrow. She was on Twitter and social last night, and she filmed herself responding to this. And I think that all of us here can agree with it.
About this deal that just passed through the Senate because it is a bad one. Americans cannot afford this deal. I want to set the stage on why the government was shut down and what happened, because Democrats were only asking for one thing. They were asking for an extension of ACA subsidies to ensure that your healthcare premiums didn't skyrocket. And I heard from constituents here in Michigan, it wasn't like health insurance premiums were just going up 10% or 20%. Some of you were reporting seeing your health insurance premiums double, if not triple. I was just up in the Upper Peninsula and I heard from leaders of UP Health Systems who were concerned that this is just going to lead to people canceling their health insurance, which means they won't go to doctor's appointments, they won't seek preventative care, they will wait until they are so sick that they end up in the ER. Now, the ER is much more expensive, and that cost for that uncovered care is going to be spread on all of us, which means that with this deal, all of our health insurance premiums are going to go up. Now, the Senate is broken. Just like everything else, Donald Trump has broken our institutions and has shown a willingness to callously hurt people, no matter what the cost. This is the same administration that denied their own USDA guidance to deny SNAP funding from going out into our communities, even though they did not have to, in a government shutdown, to use food and hunger as a political weapon. This is something that hurt 500,000 children in Michigan. We got to do things very differently. The old way of doing things is not working. We need new leaders in the Senate, and we've shown on the ground here in Michigan how we can show up, how we can build power, how we can use that power to protect you. Now is not the time for a deal that is nothing but a broken.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
Where's the lie?
No lie. And I want to show this to Tim Kaine walking up to the podium. I think this is the clip.
Ask, there's already
Oh, wait, no, this is,
Democrats in the House that are saying
me.
Leader Schumer should
Yeah.
step aside, he should be replaced. You know, the 8 of you today voting with Republicans to advance this plan to reopen the government, does that just further the divides within the Democratic Party right now?
No. When I talk to my constituents in New Hampshire, you know what they say to me? They say, why can't you all just work together to address the problems that are facing this country? We put the Senate back on a path to start doing that today, and we're going to continue to work that way.
All right, one last question.
No, I'm going to.
Michelle, I'm sorry. Why doesn't John Hamm want to marry me? Why doesn't
Because he doesn't know you?
why
I
doesn't
don't
John
know.
Hamm marry? He doesn't want to. Because he doesn't want to. Why can't you work with Republicans, Senator Shaheen? Because they don't want to. Okay.
Yeah.
They
They're
don't
not
want to.
working with us.
You're like that, you're like those college girls when I was back in college, including my best friend, who had a poster of Brad Pitt from whatever that stupid fly fishing movie was. Which
Legends of the
Legends of the Fall, right?
No, River Runs Through It. River Runs
Whatever
Through
it is, yeah, whichever one it was. Yeah, I think it was actually Legends of the Fall, not the fly fishing one. The other one. Yeah,
it. Tristan. Anyways.
right. Like literally, why didn't Brad Pitt come off that poster and start dating her? Because he had no interest. He was otherwise engaged. He was dating somebody else at the time, and they're dating Donald Trump, Senator Shaheen. They don't want to date you. They don't even want to be seen in the same shot as you.
No.
She's not running for re-election, by the way, Jeanne Shaheen. Let me tell you a story about Jeanne Shaheen. Can I just give you some tea on Jeanne Shaheen?
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2001, I was working in the Senate. She was looking to run for Senate at the time. And she wanted me to come. Well, she didn't want me, but she asked me to come up and interview with her to do her comms. And so I go up to New Hampshire, and she's the governor at the time, and I meet with her in her office. And it was the fastest conversation I've ever had with anybody. She had this vibe where I was like, there is no way in hell that I'm coming up here to work for this woman. And they were trying to sell me. They're like, oh, New Hampshire is such a great place to work because then you'll get into presidential. Next thing you know, it'll be in the White House. And, it's New Hampshire, New Hampshire. And I was like, I like the state of New Hampshire. I went to college up in Boston. Like, I spent a lot of time in New Hampshire. But this woman just turned me off because she was so full of shit. And I saw it back then, and I was like 27 years old. I can't stand these people. I can't stand them.
No, again, it's arrogance. It's thinking, I mean, it's just, they think we're all dumb. Like, that's the thing. Like, they're entitled and we're idiots. And here's the thing with Tim Kaine, too. I just want to show this.
So, hey, everybody, I'm the cleanup hitter because I joined this group I joined it 48 hours ago. Not for lack of interest. And I got to applaud Gene.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Now,
I like you even less now.
Yeah. Now his excuse is that all of these federal workers, they were out of work and blah, blah, blah. And I had to do it. Okay. You know what? He's not hiring them back. He's not.
No, that's the thing, Julie, that they don't seem to understand. Donald Trump isn't going to hire these people back. And if he does, he's going to fire them anyways. Any of these people. This is where I'm like, even last night, Julie, on Twitter, some well-meaning people, I don't have any issue with them, Democrats who've either worked for Hillary or Obama or Bernie or whomever, right? Who are all in media now. And they're like, Chuck Schumer voted no. I don't know why everybody's ragging on him. This is I'm like, first of all, if he had nothing to do with this, that means he has no control over his caucus. Zero. Mitch would never.
Yep.
Second of all, you need to somehow develop some sense of an imagination. I say this all the time. A lack of imagination is a very dangerous thing. I was like, you're either playing dumb to the rest of us, or you're just not thinking outside the box. People are this craven. People are this clueless. They don't seem to understand. I don't think that Chuck Schumer gets it. I don't think that he looks into the eyes of his Republican colleagues across the aisle and understands the lengths at which they will go to save their own asses. They will sell the country out. They are selling the country out. And they will send thousands of Americans to their unnecessary deaths. Willingly. And we're just sitting here I mean, again, Donald Trump's approval ratings is in the shitter. This is him last night at the Commanders football game.
Yep.
He was booed for 2 minutes straight.
I am saying your name. You solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies.
There is a longer clip that exists that is 2 minutes long of just straight booing, and a lot of videos that you will find online of fans in the stands all flipping him off, booing from many vantage points. This past week has been the wind in our sails. And I mean, there was articles written being like, Democrats can look at the Senate map now and feel hopeful. I don't know now. Maybe. I don't know. Because a lot of this anger now is going towards these Democrats as well. And anybody who had a hand in it. Someone will leak this. It will be leaked eventually. We'll find out what was going on.
It's already out there. It's already leaked that Schumer was working.
Yeah.
Scenes with these guys.
Oh yeah. Here's the hold on. Here's this PDF. Did I load this in? Let me grab it. Hold on.
Anyway, while you do that, I mean, there is already evidence that Schumer was working behind the scenes. Because as Michelle said, there you go.
Yep, here it is. Okay. So Tennessee Holler, the fact that none of these 8 Dems are up for re-election in 2026 is a pretty good sign that Chuck Schumer engineered this surrender. And then here's the posts from Ezra Levin. This is from the American Prospect, okay? This was published 2 days ago on November 8th by Robert Kuttner. Headline says, why does Schumer keep trying to cave? how the Senate Democratic leader and his Gang of Eight keep trying to snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory. David Dayen tweeted, "The scoop. Schumer was more involved than reported with the attempted cave on the government shutdown. The Gang of Eight Senate Dems had his approval, and he was getting daily updates. The cave almost happened Thursday after the election." Here's what occurred. It has been widely assumed that the group of eight mostly centrist Senate Democrats who have been looking to broker a hollow deal on Republican terms were freelancing. In fact, they were acting with the express approval of Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer and were reporting to him daily. At Thursday's meeting, they told their caucus colleagues that they now had 10 votes to reopen the government in exchange for no real Republican concessions. At that, much of the rest of the caucus went ballistic. And some of the supposed 10 said that, in fact, they were not willing to vote for any such deal. And then we all know what happened last night. This was reported 2 days ago. So that's why, like, Neera Tanden and Simone Sanders and all these people last night, right? Who I love Simone Sanders. I think she's great. But, like, that's where I was like, I don't understand. Like, are you playing dumb right now, or do you just not get it? And so I was dropping this article in everyone's comments, being like, I don't know, everyone needs to leave Chuck Schumer. Like, what's he supposed to do? And I'm like, this is him. He did this. He did this. Wake up. Wake up, people. Come on. This is like, I'm like, the future of the country is dependent on this. And for that reason, Chuck Schumer needs to be removed as minority leader today. Because the vote still has to happen. That's the other part of this. It's not 100% over. I mean, it is kind of, but
because they moved to advance it, so all they need is a majority.
Correct, right? But it isn't over until it's over. But keep calling. But yeah,
he needs to go.
Yep,
he needs to go. He needs to go today. For the sake of the party to which he's dedicated his life.
And the country, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know who the alternative is.
I don't either. I'd literally take anyone. That's not true. I shouldn't say that. I'd take a Murphy.
I'd take a Murphy. I don't think they'll give it to a Murphy. Schatz, I guess. Schatz caved last time, but
yeah, he did. But he did because of Chuck Schumer, because he needed Chuck Schumer's support to whip votes to take over for Dick Durbin as minority whip.
This is what I'm saying.
That's the problem.
This is what I'm saying.
And I don't think he can be trusted either.
They rule from a politics of fear and self-interest. And there are 15 million people, as Bernie Sanders said, who are going to lose their health care or watch their premium skyrocket so much that they're going to have to choose once again between paying for food and paying for their health care. And these completely entitled millionaires, which is what all of them are.
Yes, let's go through that, shall we? Because I actually tweeted this last night and I said, for funsies, I think we should all Google the net worth of all of these Democrats. And actually, Asen from Midas Touch retweeted me, and it got a lot of traction. I am old now, and I need my glasses. Now, these are estimated from several different sources, so it's somewhere in this ballpark. Cortez Masto, $2.35 to $6.8 million net worth. Jackie Rosen says around 15 million. Tim Kaine around 2 as of 2025. Shaheen around 7.4. Maggie Hassan 2.3 to 7, 5.6 average it says. Angus King around 9. Dick Durbin 2.5 to 3. Fetterman, we don't really know. There is no record really, but you can know, just so everybody knows here, he is a trust fund kid who was financially supported by his rich father until he was like 49 years old. While he was running for office and being mayor and getting paid like $1 or whatever. So he has lived off his family's money. So these are not people who will ever know the pain or the fear of losing their health care. These people, if their premium skyrocketed, would not feel the kind of pain that you and I would, that people, across this country, especially people in rural areas. I mean, rural healthcare is already shitty. And I say that as someone who grew up in rural America. There is a terrible hospital in the town where I grew up people make jokes because they're like, well, if you want to die, send them there. And so if you have time, you get in the car and you drive to Syracuse, which is an hour away. Now, that is just one example of hundreds, if not thousands, of shitty rural hospitals across the country. Now, why is that? Because they don't have proper funding, they don't have proper staffing, and this is going to make this exponentially worse. Again, people are going to die. And then I think about women in states that have abortion restrictions now, how far they are going to have to drive if they have complications with their pregnancies. Women are going to die.
And they're not going to have money to afford to pay to treat those complications.
Correct.
In the wealthiest country in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It sickens me. It sickens me.
I have made decisions in my life about employment based purely on access to healthcare.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Last night when I was first of all, I got my COVID shot yesterday. I feel like absolute ass right now. At the 12-hour mark at 4 a.m., I woke up being like, I'm dead. So that's when I was up. But I sat there and my mind was racing about all these things. And I thought exactly about what you just said, Julie. And I was thinking about how I did not have health care. I did not have health insurance because I was in my 20s before the ACA. So I lost my health insurance like most of us did over the age of whatever, the day I graduated from college. And so I did not have health insurance until I was about 28 years old. And so if I needed to see a doctor, I really had to wait until I was very sick. If I had an emergency, I went to the ER. And then for, my yearly, gynecological visits, I went to Planned Parenthood because it's all I could afford. And I eventually took a desk job in between careers for 2 years at a hedge fund at a job that I hated. I hated it so much. And it wasn't even good healthcare. We had like one of those health savings accounts and like insanely high premiums. It was crazy, but it was something. And for that reason, and for that really, crappy salary as well, I took that job. As I know, Julie, you have as well. You've taken jobs because it gave you something. It gave you something.
Yep.
Because in this country, we have to do that. And like no one else in the developed world has to make these decisions. And before the Affordable Care Act made the pre-existing conditions no longer a thing, people would stay in jobs for years and years and years and years and years, especially if they had an illness or a family member with an illness, because the second that they switched jobs, they were going to be put in that high risk pool and they wouldn't be covered anymore. And people have freedom now to move about and do things and take chances in their lives. And I don't know how much longer that's going to be, because Republicans have been talking about undoing the protections on pre-existing conditions in the last several weeks.
And Elon Musk is on track, if he meets certain metrics, to be the world's first trillionaire. Now, I happen to have been at a squash tournament yesterday, which I know is synonymous with trillionaire. I am not one. However, there are some very wealthy people there, and I happen to run into somebody who I know there, who's there with his kid. And this guy's a finance guy. And I said to him, I said, did Tesla make a crazy mistake agreeing to this Musk deal? And he said, he actually, what he said was, he's like, no. And he wasn't defending Musk. He said, no, because if, these are hard metrics to meet, but if he does make their market cap, 10 trillion, then, he will deserve to be paid, $1 trillion. Like he'll deserve to have that as stock options, because only he can make that happen. If he doesn't make it happen, he's not going to get the money. And then he kind of, as an aside, said, now I know while people are, not getting their food stamps, or their SNAP benefits, that is, kind of a hard pill to swallow, but it makes all the sense from a financial standpoint. And I'm sitting here thinking, what a disconnect.
Yeah.
What a disconnect. Not from this guy. This guy's in finance, but what a disconnect to be like, no, I know this sounds, kind of crazy, but there is no but.
There is no but.
There is no but.
There is no but. There is no but.
One person is worth more than the GDP of I don't know how many countries.
A lot. No one at a certain number, it's all nothing. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, at what number do you need to be that rich? Like, it's just your life doesn't change from like 2 billion to 10 billion. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, what quality of life changes are you having at that kind of wealth, that level of wealth? And I saw something actually this morning on Instagram. It was an interview with this big business, like billionaire guy. I forget his name. He was talking about this, and he said, listen, and he lives in New York, and he said, listen, I'm a business guy. I'm really rich. I live in New York City, but I'm not taking my business outside of New York. And I'm going to tell you why. He's like, I have reached out to Zohran Mamdani. He's like, I don't like him. I didn't support him, but I want to work with him because I'm telling you all right now. And he's like, and this is the warning that I'm going to give everyone who is in my pool of wealth and business, is that people are coming with their pitchforks. Because what is going to happen is people like Elon Musk are going to get richer and richer and richer and richer, and everyone else is going to get poorer. And then we are really in a French Revolution situation, and it's going to get very ugly. And so he's like, people need to settle down and take a step back, because none of this is working and it's not sustainable. And it's not. And eventually I have to believe that this will all come tumbling down. It has to. It just has to.
Listen, we're in a really precarious place here, you guys. And what kills me is that 24 hours ago at 8:55 a.m. on Sunday morning, we were all sitting here feeling really good about ourselves for the first time in ages, probably since the last election, since 2024. We were all sitting here thinking, we've got them on the ropes. He was being booed or about to be booed at the Commanders game. There were poll after poll showing that Republicans were being blamed for the shutdown. We just had an incredible election. We just broke a supermajority in the Mississippi State Senate.
Right.
Mississippi, you guys.
That's not like Democrats only show up on off year. No, that's not what that is. It's Mississippi, guys.
Yeah. And an off-year election, by the way.
Yeah.
And we just broke 22 years of the stranglehold that Republicans had on state level, statewide offices in Georgia. I mean, Mikey Sherrill won by like 13 points. She was expected to either lose or win by 1 or 2. Abigail Spanberger broke all records. She got more votes than anybody in the history of that state. You had how many people turning out in New York, Michelle? 2 million?
2 million. So the last election for mayor, it was 1.1 million, and we almost doubled it.
In a city of 8.5 million or so people. Think about that. 25% of all people living in New York, and that includes kids.
Right.
People who are undocumented.
Right.
People who are just citizens who live here, right?
Right.
So in reality, it's probably more like 35 or 40%. I mean, like crazy
numbers. Crazy numbers.
Off-year election. And what did they do in one fell swoop? Shaheen's retiring, Durbin's retiring. They're piecing out, and the rest of them aren't up for a couple years. And I guess they think that Democrats are going to stop being pissed off at them. I swear on all that is holy. If you live in Nevada and you are a Latino union member who works for one of the casinos, primary the shit out of these people.
Yep. Listen, I mean,
you live in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. It's like, I know it's easier said than done. Running for office is really hard, and it's hard on people's families. It's hard on your finances. It's hard, but it's like, if you can do it, if you can find any way to do it, do it.
Do it.
Do it. Even if you're going to lose, do it. Because if your voice is out there holding people accountable in any way possible, and you can change one vote or change one mind, you will have been doing a service to your country. And, I'll say this, Winston Churchill during World War II, during the Blitz, London was getting the shit kicked out of it, bombed every night. And he understood how important morale was to the British people. And so when he asked, the military, why aren't we firing back on the Germans? And he's like, well, sir, it's nighttime. We can't see. Like, we need to ration our ammunition, our bombs, whatever. He's like, I don't care. You were to fire back because the people of England need to know that we are fighting for them and that we're not going to let them just sit here and die and suffer. And that is what Winston Churchill understood that Democratic leadership does not, that morale is everything. And if you don't have it, you have nothing. And morale was peak after Tuesday, as we both know. It was peak. We were all feeling great. To your point, we woke up yesterday morning feeling like on top of the world. And we feel now like we have been completely shit on and thrown under the bus.
So listen, I never wanted to run for office. I've always liked being behind the scenes, never my cup of tea, don't want to serve, I have no interest in moving to Washington. I swear on all that is holy, if I already did not think that there were much more qualified people who are going, I shouldn't say qualified because any one of us is qualified. But if nobody else is going to step up to primary Chuck Schumer, I'll do it.
Is this Jessica Morgans is saying Shaheen and Kane going on Morning Joe? Of course.
Of course. That's the best place for them to go. And I'm sure Joe Scarborough will be 100%.
Give them a little like back massage and say, oh, you're doing the right thing.
Of course. Hey, listen, the last refuge of moderate scoundrels and sellouts is Morning Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Legitimately, you guys, I'd rather you watch Fox and Friends. At least those people actually have a viewpoint on, and are loyal to their convictions. Of course. Of course. By the way, that's why we started this show, so that you don't have to watch Morning Joe. And that's why we have people like Mallory McMorrow on this show and not fucking Shaheen. Excuse me, rich dad.
I mean, I just, listen, I think that the morale situation is a real problem as we face this. We're going to be facing some pretty tough times ahead as we try to, but I hope that we can all continue to pressure our elected officials, because I'm telling you right now, it does matter. Scare the shit out of people. Not with like threats, obviously, but I'm saying like electorally, scare the shit out of them, push them, because they do. I mean, you worked in the Senate, Julie. You can confirm that they do count the letters, they do count the voicemails, they do count the phone calls. These things do matter, and we have to continue to call them and hold them accountable.
Angus King just did indeed go on Morning Joe, and I know we have to end the show, but I just want people to brace themselves for what he said.
Oh my God.
Quote, standing up to Donald Trump didn't work.
What?
Did he not see the results of Tuesday's election?
Holy
Standing up to Donald Trump did not work. I can send you the clip, but I don't want to disgust everybody with it.
I am putting this on a banner because, oh my God. This is where people in Washington, people like Angus King, who are like richer than shit and spend all of their time in the Senate building and in the Senate dining room talking to other rich people. Please step outside your world and shake the hands of people who are suffering, just regular folks. Because again, Democrats used to be the party for working people. Democrats used to be the party that fought for equality and for healthcare and for union rights and for women's rights. And if we're willing to just lay down and take it, what do you mean it didn't work? I can't with these people. They're old and crusty and dusty, and they all need to go. They all need to go. All of them. All of them.
Standing up to Donald Trump did not work. I mean, can I just send him like a DVD of Casablanca?
Thank you.
You know what? Standing up, Victor Laszlo, cut the shit.
Right. Victor Laszlo, don't worry about it. It's
standing up to Hitler didn't work. So your point about Winston Churchill, It's 1940, and the East End of London is getting blitzed to death.
Mm-hmm.
Millions of people, not millions, thousands of people are dying.
Mm-hmm.
Thousands of people are dying.
They're shipping 100,000 children out of London to save their lives.
You know, like whatever to Narnia. That's where
Right.
that's where the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe came
I
from.
didn't know that Bed Knobs and Broomsticks was about that too. Did
Yeah.
you? I had
Nope.
no idea. My whole life, no clue, clueless.
But anyway, the point is, you know, children are being shipped to Canada if they're lucky. They're being shipped to the countryside if they're lucky. People who are unlucky and have to stay in London are dead.
Yeah.
They live in the East End. Hitler is purposely blitzing the East End because that's where poorer people live, and he wants to break the morale of the working class. They rise up against their, you know, the Queen and the King and, you know, the whole thing. The King, I guess, at that point. And instead, London rallies. Now imagine if Winston Churchill, who would, if you've ever been to the Churchill War Rooms in London, and I know people from London here who probably have, if you haven't and you're in London, you should go. He would climb up on the roof. And his security was like, you know, Mr. Prime Minister, you can't, you know, Prime Minister, you can't do that. It's very dangerous. And he would say, no, you know, these are my people, I have to watch what's going on. Imagine if he had said instead, standing up to Hitler didn't work. Look what's happening in the East End. I could stand up on this rooftop here in the West End and look over and see what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
At night when all the lights are off and all you could see are just the planes flying in.
Mm-hmm. And Winston Churchill, again, is a very good example of, he was a person of privilege and wealth that none of us can even imagine, but it didn't matter. He still understood people. He still knew the right thing to do. Same with Roosevelt.
Yeah.
These are people who understood the moment. They understood what people needed and they spoke to them. You know, Winston Churchill was half American. He got it. He understood.
All right. So
anyways,
it is after 9 o'clock, Michelle. I'm going to go and try to calm down. I am going to be on MSNBC. Well, I'm going to, speaking of Morning Joe, I'm actually going to be on MSNBC today, not on that shit show, but I'm going to be with Chris Jansing at noon today on MSNBC. And I'm going to stare straight into the camera. And I'm going to tell Chuck Schumer he has to resign. Now, I don't think Chuck Schumer really cares what I have to say, but it is on MSNBC that they all
listen,
all on their TVs and their offices. I know.
And let me tell you, people at home, anybody listening anywhere, Julie has been electing Democrats for what, 30 years? People know who you are, and your opinion does matter to people. And while Chuck Schumer may not care at the end of the day,
he should care. You know why he should care, Michelle? Not because I've been electing Democrats for 30 years. You know why he should care? I'm one of his 8.5 million constituents.
That too.
I'm a New Yorker, as are you, as is, you know, every single person in the Empire State right now who is outraged.
All the people who work on Chris Jansing's show, for God's sakes, you know, probably are New York residents.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm headed over there. Yes, for people who are asking in the chat, it will be MSNBC Now starting on the 15th. They're moving out of 30 Rock to Times Square, which will be interesting to see. For a couple of years, then I think they're moving to Hudson Yards, which is where CNN is, which is really. But anyway, yes, they're no longer MSNBC. They're going to be MS
Now, which I'm sorry, just sounds like
it sounds like a multiple. Sounds like a multiple sclerosis
now, which no one wants that.
It'll be noon today, Miss Banks. Thank you for asking. Noon Eastern, and which means that I have to go get in the shower and try to do something about this hair. Anyway, I will see
noon, right? Noon Eastern on MS Now.
Yeah, but Michelle and I might be back if we are.
We might be. I'm gonna go take a nap because I feel like garbage. And my arm hurts so bad. Like I
had that too.
I tried to I was drying my hair this morning. I was like, ow, ow, ow.
I got a COVID shot a month ago maybe, and I got a COVID shot and I think a flu shot at the same time.
Yeah, I did. I got both at the same time.
Both my arms were like, ow, ow.
It's no bueno. I'm so grateful to have it. I'm so grateful to live in New York and have access to these things. But whoo, I'm feeling not good. But I'm thinking, Julie, on our way out, remember that Morning Joe video I made for our first episode?
Oh yes. Why don't you play that, Michelle?
Because I haven't updated it yet with the Seth Moulton clip, but and maybe some stuff from today. But I think I'm gonna play us out on this, and Yeah. Turn off.
Oh, Rosie in Australia. I was on Australian TV today. I guess for your time, it's today.
Okay. You did it last night, right?
I did it last night, but with all the time changes, I think it already aired. There's a show in Australia called, I don't even know what it's called, but it's totally focused on United States politics. And let me tell you, these guys know more about our politics. By the way, that show should just be streamed to American television. It is that
There's
good.
60 Minutes over there is incredible.
I know, but it is that good, and it is that effective.
Yeah,
And
they do a great job. They do a great job.
Great. It is great. Miss Binks, I got Shingrix #2 also, but I got it like 2 months after Shingrix #1, which nobody told me you're not supposed to do. And I literally thought I got hit by a bus.
Oh no.
Photo shoot that day. And if you have to see the pictures from that photo shoot, I look like I'm drunk and homeless at the same time. So yeah. So I hear you. I feel your pain. Anyway. All right. Okay, everybody. It's good to see you all today, especially in the chat. I just had a bunch of people joining us, which is great. This network keeps growing. We keep growing our numbers on YouTube and everywhere. So thank you so much. We will be back tomorrow, and we will see you then.
Yep.
Yes, it is Planet America, Rosie. That's exactly what it is, and I was on it today.
Oh yeah. I hear that.
Okay.
Bye. Play us out. Bye, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit.
In this meeting, President Trump was cheerful. He was upbeat. He seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we?
Have you had any contact with him since that meeting, the two of you?
Yeah.
Really?
Did you have Trump back on?
Yeah, at some point.
You guys still talk?
We do. Yeah, we do. I mean, we've known each other for a very long time. We talk and communicate, and I try to get insight on what's going on.
I've heard from a lot of people that I respect a great deal, leaders who are really powerful, who just wanted to let me know that that was the right thing to do. I've seen, just like the very opposite happening online.
You'll be smarter, and you have been over the last several weeks, because of what we talked about with Donald Trump for an hour and a half. We got information on where they're going, and I do report that, just like great reporters at the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal.